Welcome to the O'Connor Elder Law channel. I'm your host, Melissa O'Connor. I'm a Florida-based elder law attorney who does estate planning, focusing on long-term care needs, commonly referred to as Medicaid planning, and I do probate, and I do it well. Today I wanted to talk to you about some common money, estate planning type of myths that I hear, and just talk it out with you. One of the myths that I hear is that Medicare will pay for long-term care. So that way people are like, I have insurance, I have Medicare, I'm good, I'm set. I'm not too concerned about long-term care needs because I got this I purchased the best Medicare plan. And while I highly encourage you to purchase the best Medicare plan for you, for your health insurance in your retirement years, I have to bust the myth that Medicare will not pay for your long-term care needs. They only have 120 days of coverage for long-term care type of, it's not long-term care, it's just rehab type care should you have some sort of slip or fall and need medical treatment that would be at like a rehab facility. Many times nursing homes do provide those sort of rehabilitation exercises and benefits, so people feel as if, oh yeah, I visited somebody in a nursing home and Medicare was paying for it, but in reality that was more at the rehab wing of the facility, and the person was just using their 120 days of benefits that they have under Medicare. But should they no longer progress and improve medically and truly need long-term care, meaning that they're going to need assistance from a nurse or an aide to be able to do some of the daily functions of living, Medicare doesn't have coverage for that. That's what Medicaid has coverage for. And so people would need to be able to qualify for Medicaid or otherwise have a private long-term care health insurance policy in place. And you can't buy those policies when you're ready, need them. Those are policies you should be purchasing while you're healthy and younger. So that's a common money myth that I hear people in the aging community say, is that they got great Medicare insurance. And while I think it's really important, I just want to make sure everybody knows that Medicare doesn't pay for long-term care. Medicaid does. Another myth that I hear is that you don't need a will or any sort of estate plan because you're married. They're like, we're married, we don't need a will or an estate plan because, everything that's mine is hers and everything that's hers is mine, and we just don't need that plan. And while I really appreciate that sentiment, and while many times your family home that you own jointly, tenants by the entirety for married couples, will just pass upon your death to your surviving spouse, that does not mean that you should not have a will or an estate plan in place, because not all of your assets and not all of your legacy goals can be accomplished just through your marriage certificate. You'd be surprised how many widows and widowers that need the assistance of an attorney to either help them walk them through the probate process or deal with wrapping up and winding up of affairs when their spouse had absolutely no planning in place. And many times those people, after seeing, having their eyes open to, oh my gosh, this is what it looks like to pass without a plan, they then they're encouraged and quickly put a plan in place for themselves, because they don't want their children to have to deal with what they had to deal with during the mourning process. And so I encourage everybody to put in place, even if it's a basic type of estate plan, to put in place your plan. Like, what is your plan? People like to say, that they have a fancy plan or they have a basic plan. It doesn't really matter. What matters is if it's the best plan for you. And a plan is definitely better than no plan. So that's a common myth that I hear. And the other one that I hear is that I have plenty of money and I don't need to plan for long-term care because I'm just going to pay for it. I've worked my whole life and I saved up this nest egg, and it's great. It's good. I'm set. And I can really appreciate that, and many times people, when they look at their investment accounts, if you're a lucky individual that feels good about your retirement planning, they can look at that figure and say, wow, this is so much money. I'm so proud of myself. I saved this much, and I'm just going to cash pay it. This is going to be great. But these same people many times have little to no realistic concept as to how much long-term care actually costs. They have no idea that nursing home facilities can cost $10,000 to $15,000 a month, depending on the level of care that you need. They might think that they heard of a family friend that was staying in a facility at $4,000 a month. And that might have been more of an independent living type of arrangement and not a memory care unit. So you never know. I think these people that think that they have plenty of money saved and don't need any plan in place because they got tons of cash are just mistaken as to how long their cash is going to last, and they're really banking on staying healthy. Their plan will work if they don't have any sort of medical crisis, and the plans truly fall apart. Those type of plans fall apart when you're faced with medical crises, whether you're faced with the terrible diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia and you lose, your ability to, your capacity to make decisions and to do things for yourself, and you need a much higher level of care for your own safety, or if you've suffered a tremendous fall or a stroke or any other ailment that requires you to need more round-the-clock type of care, that can get expensive very quickly. And if you're just looking at paying cash, many times your family will feel as if they also need to now protect this money that you worked so hard for, so they feel obligated to provide you the care, and then they get worn out and discouraged, and it's just generally a hard end-of-life process. So I encourage people to plan ahead, whether it's through the purchase of a long-term care health insurance policy or to be ready to put in place Medicaid planning if that is something that would be appropriate in your future. And the start for that is just a really good durable power of attorney document. If you have a very strong durable power of attorney document in place, that provides your agent the opportunity to engage in Medicaid planning should it become necessary and should you not have the capacity to do so. So those are some of the common myths that I just wanted to address, and hope that I can shed some light to those of you who may think that you don't need a plan, that you're all set because you're married and you have plenty of money, and that you have Medicare. So I hope that this has been helpful. If it has, I ask that you like and share with others. As always, thank you for joining me.